There is a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from loving someone who never quite believes you. You say, "I love you," and they hear it. But then they wait, they watch, they test. Not because they want to hurt you, but because something deep inside them genuinely cannot rest without proof. Some people need to be reassured not just once, but constantly. And the moment the reassurance fades, the doubt quietly returns. From the outside, it can look like neediness, or insecurity, or even manipulation. But that's almost never the full story. There's a pattern that psychologists have studied for decades, and it keeps showing up in relationships in ways most people never recognize. It looks like love. It sounds like love. But underneath it, something else is running quietly in the background. It usually starts with something small. A partner doesn't respond to a message quickly, and instead of assuming they're just busy, the other person starts to wonder, starts to feel something shift inside them. Not panic, just a quiet, restless uncertainty. So they do something. They say something slightly provocative, or they pull back a little themselves, just to see what happens. And when the partner reaches out with concern, something in them finally relaxes. Not because they wanted a fight, but because now they have evidence. This is what testing actually looks like from the inside. It doesn't feel manipulative. It feels like survival. And the person doing it often doesn't even realize they're doing it. Some people will start an argument about something completely unrelated, just to watch how their partner handles it. They're not actually upset about the dishes or the canceled plan. They're asking a much deeper question without knowing how to say it out loud. Will you still be here when things aren't perfect? That question didn't start in this relationship. It started much earlier. Developmental psychologists, including research tied to John Bowlby's foundational work on attachment theory, have long understood that the emotional patterns we develop in childhood become the invisible operating system of our adult relationships. When a child grows up in an environment where love felt unpredictable, where affection came and went without warning, the brain learns a specific lesson. Safety is not permanent, so you have to keep checking. That lesson doesn't disappear when you grow up. It follows you. It shows up in the way you watch someone's face when you tell them something vulnerable, the way you notice how long they take to text back, the way you feel a strange sense of relief when someone is visibly worried about you, because at least then you know they care. If you've ever picked a small fight just to feel the makeup, you already know what this feels like from the inside. It's not about the fight. It's about the reconnection, the proof that the relationship can survive something uncomfortable. Some people test love by going quiet. They withdraw suddenly and then wait to see who notices. If someone chases, they feel loved. If no one reaches out, the fear that has always lived inside them gets a little louder. Others do it through self-deprecation. They say something negative about themselves in a casual way, watching carefully to see how their partner responds. You're probably tired of me by now. They're not fishing for compliments. They're running a quiet diagnostic on the relationship. And still, others test through hypothetical conversations. What would you do if I just disappeared one day? They frame it as curiosity, but they are listening very carefully to the answer. If you've ever noticed yourself doing any of this, you're definitely not alone. And if you find yourself drawn to these quiet corners of human psychology, subscribing to the channel helps more people discover these kinds of insights. The painful irony is this: the very behavior designed to create closeness often creates distance. Partners start to feel like they're always being evaluated, like they're never quite passing the test, even when they don't know what the test is. And the person doing the testing feels this too. They sense the distance growing, so they test a little more. Daniel Kahneman's work on how the brain processes threat and uncertainty helps explain part of this. The mind, when it has learned to expect loss, starts scanning constantly. It becomes hypersensitive to any signal that something is wrong. A slightly shorter response, a distracted tone, a pause that lasts half a second too long. These become data, and the brain starts building a case from them. What's worth understanding is that this is not weakness. It's actually a very sophisticated form of emotional intelligence, just aimed in an exhausting direction. The person who tests their partner's love is usually acutely attuned to emotional shifts. They notice things others miss. They feel things others overlook. Their nervous system is simply working overtime. There is also something quietly courageous happening inside them, even if it's difficult to see. They keep showing up. They keep loving. They keep trying to build something real, even while part of them is convinced it will eventually fall apart. That is not manipulation. That is someone fighting their own history every single day. The hidden cost, though, is real. It's exhausting to never feel fully certain. to always be waiting for the other shoe to drop, to love someone deeply and still not quite believe you're allowed to keep them. And it's equally exhausting for the partner who eventually realizes that no amount of reassurance ever feels permanent, because the issue was never actually about them. It was always about a belief that formed long before they arrived. The belief that love is conditional, that it can be revoked without warning, that you have to earn it over and over, because the last time you stopped earning it, something painful happened. What changes things is not more reassurance. Reassurance helps in the moment, but it fades quickly for someone whose nervous system is wired for uncertainty. What changes things is something quieter and slower. It's the accumulation of small, consistent moments where love doesn't disappear, where conflict doesn't mean abandonment, where silence doesn't mean rejection. It's the slow, patient rewriting of a very old story. The people who test their partner's love are not difficult people. They are people who learn to love in an uncertain environment, and their minds are still trying to protect them from something that may no longer be there. They are not broken, they are adapted. And adaptation, no matter how painful it sometimes feels, is always proof that the mind was trying to survive. There are many quiet patterns like this living inside the way humans love and connect. Patterns that look like one thing from the outside and feel like something completely different from within. If this one resonated with something in you, there may be other parts of how you connect with people that are worth exploring quietly.